Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of the Let's Play Europa Universalis for the Third Odyssey, back to the Motherland. Beaten, but not broken. In the last part, we started our campaign, we started our journey, and currently we are spreading out our settlers from what we brought with us from Byzantium. And we're basically just trying to find a home for our Hellenic followers. Ladies and gentlemen, I was going to quickly point this out. If you guys have left any comments, that I have recorded this in the bulk of 2 episodes just to get me rolling. And I'm probably going to keep doing it in 2 episodes, 2 to 4, because I'm trying to get myself back into doing sessions instead of a single episode every day. Just because it's better time management, really. If you do loads at once, you then have a couple of days in between to do other things, and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's focus on the Let's Play. Sacrifice to the gods. Well, the Romans and Hellenes may not have really had much belief in their old gods. They valued piety and tradition highly, nevertheless. You can mock the gods all you want, but they want to be worshipped, and you'd best give them something to avoid risking their wrath. You could sacrifice anything from a cattle to food to gold to weapons. These sacrifices could be burnt or thrown into a pit or deep pond. Will you honor the gods? Now, to honor the gods would actually cost us money that I don't have right now. Huh. So we're going to say, let's see what they do about it. Because right now, we need the money that we're saving. So the money we don't have, we need the money to build up our empire. So in the way, the best way to put it is, if the gods want goods, they want goods now, or do they want goods later when it matters for them? Nobles request housing for land and land for farming estates. The ruling class who came with us on the fleet are requesting that we provide them with large estates befitting their status, that they can be used for substance farming and growing of cash crops, not to mention they increase their personal wealth. We could just give them the land at the usual price, which will allow them to quickly establish their farms. Alternatively, we could charge them a premium for the land, which will increase our treasury, but will temporarily bankrupt the nobles. And I'm actually just going to give them the land because it's a lot smarter to give them the land. Because you want every possible avenue continue to be open. That's why I took everything with us instead of leaving something behind. Because, yeah, I could have been a little bit stronger to begin with. I could have maybe fought a few wars, but I could have maybe fought a war within like 5-6 years of being here. But in the late game, I wouldn't have had I would have had no options in comparison. I would have had nothing that matters truly to what we're trying to do. And that is why I took everything. And the reason I converted is because Hellenic is actually probably my favorite religion in this mod. The Elysian Orthodox is amazing. But what I saw on the mod page is they've released some new stuff for the Elysian Hellenic. So I was very much looking to try that out. Our colony here should not take long. New Alexandria. Sorry, I pronounced the AX instead of an AK, which is very rude of me, I would say. But yeah, so right now we've got, I'm not going to look too far down here, we've got, yeah, a lot of, wow, there's not a lot of missions between becoming Elysia and going to war. Though the first stage, that is these alone, will take a long time. Visitors from the north. Hasn't shown them yet. We've received a delegation from the previously unknown people of the north to the north. They seem to be the remnants of the Varangian colonies that was abandoned centuries ago. According to historical documents, the Varangians of old made fearsome raiders and eventually became distinguished traders in their own right, but only because raiding became impossible to achieve with the new advancement of fortifications in Europe. We, alongside with the native of this world we call Elysium, do not have access to such fortifications and are invulnerable to coastal raids by these people. To avoid unneeded conflict, we have decided to send a delegation of our own to the north to talk with the leaders of these Varangians. Prepare a diplomatic delegation. They're up here. If you get to, most of you guys probably have played this mod before, but yeah, there they are. Helluland and Markland. The Varangian colonies. Our diplomats have finally arrived at the North Varangian colonies and were quite surprised. They were expecting barbaric dwellings filled with horned, pale men, but instead they found quite the large wooden city that housed a strange mix of both pale and native men. And while one could say that this city was underdeveloped by our standards, their apparent success in such terrible isolation was a marvelous sight to behold. When our diplomats were finally received by their leaders, they were given 2 trade propositions. One with the most northern of the colonies, called Helluland, promising a stable source of naval materials from their ongoing naval operations, and the other with the southern Markland, that proposed instead a wide array of exotic ivory, furs, and oils. The northern colonies made it clear that this was a diplomatic play and that accepting one offer would exclude the other. The exotic goods is production, and the essentially naval supply is trade power. Out of both of these, let us make a deal for exotic goods is actually far better. And we become allies with Markland. Now again, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really hammering home how important funding production is. Local natives bring it. Well, we'll do that. So yeah, a basic temple. Local religious leaders are saying that it is time for us to build a temple to the gods of Olympus. As we are currently limited in resources, we can only build a basic temple using wood and stone. The Emperor's advisors remind him that if he paid for it out of his own treasury, he would increase control over where the tax comes from, is invested. But no, it is too expensive. The nobles can fund it. Local natives bring gifts. After being encountered by the natives who are in awe of our ways, some local chiefs have gathered gifts for our people in the hopes that we may become friends. Since we can always use the food, tools, and materials and manpower, they are most welcome. May our nations ever closest that one day we'll be able to repay this kindness tenfold. And by repay this kindness, what it means is kill them. If we're honest. Markland, yep, of course we'll marry you, my friend. Now, there is quite a lot of events that go on between these two that we get to witness, so I'll be doing my best to watch them as they go on. Because they're always interesting. And again, I'm not gonna read repeat messages. I will of course read every other message though. But if I recognize that message and I think we've said it, but as long as I'm very confident I've read it, I will of course just skip past it. And Basilis, friend to the native, happened to us. It gives us mercenaries. The mercenaries are of course the ones that we would use normally, but it's very weird. Now we're going to colonize Chesapeake next because it's... Actually, no, Delaware's actually better. And there it is. Eager Settlers is now dropped. That's what I was expecting. So if we look over here now, Eager Settlers is now 250. Homeland settled. With our neighboring provinces of Nea Alexandria settled, it is now time to encourage settlers to move there. While this may weaken our capital for a short period of time, it will certainly help with development of the newly acquired provinces. Now I'm reading these ones just because it only happens for these colonies, so you may as well read it. The Elysian homelands. Now that we have founded our capital, it is time to expand our influence to the land that surrounded it, as it would provide a buffer zone that any enemies must first pass through. We also hope that one day benefit from what may become the cultural and economic center of our empire. I can see it already. And look at that, we now have 219. Now, we are now making money even while colonizing, which is good. Now, if I really wanted to, I could wait. But I'm going to actually pay... yeah, I'm going to pay them because I would like it. So, it's a rare opportunity to do diplomacy with the native peoples. But now have a chance to avoid war. If we could provide the Powhatan with a generous gift of gold and weapons, we can convince them to leave their current land and move further south away from our claimed territory. I don't know if that makes them go to Chesapeake. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we'll hold for now. Sacrifice to the gods. Well, the Romans and Hellenes. Oh, okay. So we've read this one, and we are actually going to say, let's see what they do about it again. We have the gold this time. It's just more. I don't want them. I don't want it. So we could try and get this colony at the same time and then make the deal with them, but that would really ruin our income, and we don't want to take loans at all. Now, how much did it cost for a single? How much do we maintenance we pay on unit? So we can have a single unit of infantry now. So that's what I'm gonna do. Get myself some more infantry. We want to get up to 10,000 men pretty quickly because it means we can then get this done. We don't want to accept this yet, but we do want to get it done soon. Now, I have no intention to offer these guys an alliance, purely because I am going to want to kill them. And they may settle across the Appalachian Mountains. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I can finally say it. If any of you guys have seen my old Let's Plays of Third Odyssey, I could never say that word. Because appellation was it's not a word in English, like in English, like UK English. Like it is a word, but it's not like common. It's extremely uncommon for us to even mention that word. I believe it is obviously a Native American word that obviously you can say in English, but I think you guys get the point. Oh, we can nearly have 2 units of infantry. We're actually losing 10% production efficiency here, and we're still making a good amount of money with the maize, which is great. If you look at the people around us, they pretty much all have grain in that. The House of Mosel. With the union of Constantinos the 11th and Anastasia, we've gained not only a spouse, but also a new ally in the realm. The Mosel is an old and influential family and their seat is the jewel of the Elysian Empire. Of course, friendship has to go both ways, and Anastasia will be expected to speak for her kin, while our Basilos will expect to consider such advice very carefully. So this is the seat of strong aristocrats in the province that we're still colonizing. But we got an amazing heir, a 346, sorry. Native uprising, not what I had expected. So let's go deal with that. Actually, how long will it take you to do that? No, say 22 days. We should be able to win even with our limited fights. Now, of course, we're still going to be subject to a very small amount of raids. But I believe, if I am correct, in this idea which we will unlock, there is a where is it? Oh no, it's not in there anymore. Oh, it's not there. Then I should actually have gone for this. And I'm going to do it, because we can't really stomach raids right now. I'm actually going to increase my stability again, because with our stability, we need stability, so let's turn off our men for now. Right, we'll now no longer have any raids. So that's good. Of course, we could buy these guys out, and I really want to do that this part, but that's what happens. And we're going to be playing on free speed, ladies and gentlemen, because there is still a lot of events to come in the short time we've still got. So, and I don't like to skip from event to event to event, just reading all the time. That's what I do. And we've now got the Dinotoi. This estate represented the landed nobility of the realm. Originally accustomed to powerful imperial oversight, the flight to the New World has allowed these petty lords unprecedented amount of autonomy in exchange for military service and defense. So these guys are basically the exact same thing as they were in the old world. The only difference is the only difference is some of these things work differently than they did in the base game. Hellenic is doing great though, which is good. Hellenic will eventually spread very, very, very far. So we're at 472 colonists. That's pretty good. Can't complain. Reform the military. A serious problem has recently been brought to our attention. We are trapped in this new world with little manpower and virtually no wealth, and yet our military is still operating on the old Roman model, a model which is costly to maintain for not enough benefit. We must reform the army if we are to long survive this Elysia. So essentially we have two ways. We could conscript the native warriors. The conscription of native warriors to the local Barbari tribes will provide us with some much needed manpower. So we get a conscripted navy, national manpower increase, mercenary decrease, mercenary cost and maintenance decreased. Or we can expand the militia. The expansion of the local city militias will instill our people with a sense of pride that they defend their home from foreign threats. We'll also provide them with crucial military experience. So this one is a little bit more, basically it's like, do you want to be disciplined or do you want to be quantitative? So basically that's the best way to look at it. But we will be doing this one. Now it does ruin our minus 10, it does get rid of some of our efficiency, but trust me ladies and gentlemen, there is a good reason for picking this one in my opinion. We're going to expand the militia and sacrifice to the gods. We're just going to say, no thanks, mate. We don't need the we don't need what it benefit. We don't need the benefit it gives us. So we're going to, of course, just ignore it for now. But yeah, so we've got the Elysia is definitely a jewel in this empire because of how big it is. Diplomatic insult. Conflicts sometimes erupt following diplomatic insults. We're actually going to say try to ease the tension and try and make everyone here a little bit more happier with our presence. Because if they're happy with us, then they'll deal business with us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I was on about, the change army doctrine. This is going to prove very, 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 very useful. Because it's going to be basically... There's a lot of things that can come from this that are really good for us. And I can promise that you guys will enjoy them. So the second we've set our steps foot here, we will move forward with my plan to basically ask these guys for their land. And because the second we just settle that... wait, do we have free or... yeah, we currently have free... Right, we need to actually fully colonize... I don't mind paying full price for it, if I'm honest. Full price is fine. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, just to, if you guys ever want to... If you ever guys have played... If you guys are looking to play this, your reformed army is here. So this goes in a year or so after you've reformed. And then the reform... the reform itself goes next to it. Should always be next to it until you obviously, unless you've obviously when you recently reform, it should be right next to it. Don't quote me though. Now we could build a massive great fort in our capital. We're not going to just yet. We will be having one then though. I can assure that. Alesia requires a cat one. Anyway, the call for a hunt. Our young men living in Bithynia are at best half civilized. They learn from and admire the nearby native people and yearn to cast aside their home to become wanderers and hunters in the great wilderness and beyond our borders. I can't really... Oh, wait, naval supplies? Yeah, as long as they bring back some furs. Furs is the same price. Oh, I played myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I played myself. I thought furs were actually worth a lot more. And so I went for them instead. But apparently they're not. I'm actually quite depressed now. Oh well, you live and learn, ladies and gentlemen. You live and learn. So, don't know if this is going to get done this part, but we'll see. I would love a flagship, but yeah. We need quite a few. We need to have a navy before we can build a flagship, so... Wait, do you need to embrace the Renaissance to do this? You do? Wow. Ah, yes, that's something I should mention. The Renaissance, and it is going to take a long, long time to get to us. It's going to hurt for a while, but we'll be able to get over it. We are a different culture group as well. We're Hellenic, exiled Hellenic. And there are two groups as well. Well, I think there's 3 now, but I don't actually remember. Also, Bay of Alesia, our merchant should be... collecting from trade there, just to buff up any income we could make. I mean, we're still getting at like 12 or so people per month, which is definitely good. The Renaissance. Travelers speak of a great rebirth of old ideals in faraway lands. It is hard to treat such rumours seriously though. According to the reports, great secrets have been uncovered by thinkers of this Renaissance. All of the things that pop up are going to be a little slightly different. Anyway, Northern warriors offer services. A band of seasoned, if impulsive, Viking warriors have offered their services as mercenaries to the Emperor of the Romans. In return for regular pay and lodgings in New Constantinople, they have agreed to convert to Hellenic faith and fight alongside our warriors. With some training and a lot of gold, they should become fine warriors in Imperial service. I'm not going to lie, this is a great thing to do, in my opinion. It's great. It sets you up for some good defense to begin with. So we now have the Varangian quarter, which gives a manpower increase of 5,000. Local manpower modifier plus 10% and local defensiveness plus 50%. It really does help make Alesia very, very hard to break. Especially when you have like a max fort there. So if you're ever in the instance when you get attacked, even like early on, and as long as you have a fort there, Alesia is going to be very, very hard to breach. Especially for natives who don't have limited resources and time. Europeans, well, that's the other part. Now the good thing is, by the time the Europeans get here, ladies and gentlemen, because of the way the mods worked, because we threw them off, we'll have a lot more time to colonize what we're doing. So we're, that's one reason, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you now, that's why I throw them off. You throw them off. Because it does actually, in a sense, stop them from wanting to colonize as early. Or at least it stops them from wanting to find the north. Now we're going to end this part at 25 minutes like I had did the first part. Most parts are going to go from 20 to 30 minutes depending on how I'm feeling in that episode. 25 minutes will probably try and be the minimum. Sorry, try and be the highest. don't want to go too high. But obviously, because the way this mod is made, it's very much interactive. It's like a role-playing game inside of in EU4, so it's a very interesting feel to it. It doesn't feel like standard EU4, which is always nice, especially when you've been playing EU4 since it's released. Even if there was some long breaks in there and every so often. We're about to get military tech as well. That'll be done in a couple of months. A few months, sorry, not a couple. Admin tech is going to fall back a little bit, but that's fine. I mean, we don't need to worry about that. As long as we keep our military tech up to begin with, we'll be fine. But though we do very much want this. This is extremely fucking important for us. Just that extra colonist at the end, ladies and gentlemen, is really, really important. I don't think I can stress how important it is, to be honest. Right. You should be done 2 months, I would say. 2 months max. 29.5 by that. Okay. It's done. Go get Chesapeake. Albanian refugees. This is a shit event. Well, it's not shit, but you'll understand. A small fleet of 5 ships have been spotted off of our shores. Upon verifying that they would remain peaceful, the vessels were guided into New Constantinople and docked in the harbour. Their king, I'm going to call him Gurj Skanderberg, and a few of his bodyguards were allowed to disembark, but the peasants and their supplies were prevented from leaving, blocked by the line of city guards. Gurj Skanderberg told of how after our disappearance from Europe, he and his people, who we knew as Albanians, were invaded and conquered by the Ottomans. Fearing furthering persecution, they followed what leads they could and discovered our destination. They now request refuge in our land and are willing to provide manpower for our armies and our field. Things remain peaceful for now, and Albanians have agreed to stay on the ships for a maximum period of 3 days to allow the Emperor and the Senate to debate the issue, provided they get given supplies with that settled. How should we follow? So there's multiple ways you can do this. Let them establish themselves in one of our port provinces, but if you look, they get Albanian majority, and it converts a religion. Converts the culture. They get a core on it, so essentially, and it also kind of ruins the province. Send them to the front, let them colonize, and essentially give the same problems. Let them establish a partially independent kingdom. Basically, here, make your own kingdom. They gain a province, or supply them and send them south. I always do this purely because I don't like the Albanian majority modifier. It's really bad for us. So we're going to supply them and send them south. Expanding city limits. As our cities establish themselves in the local area, we inevitably encroach on the lands of the hundreds of small native tribes that have called this area home for as long as any of them can remember. Envoys from the local chiefs are concerned about our expansion and are offering us a deal. If we agree to limit New Constantinople's outward growth for now, and therefore leave their towns intact, they are willing to provide our people with some of the men and resources. Alternatively, we could just take their land for ourselves. But this would cause an uproar among the natives still living there. Now, I'm not going to lie, because I'm going to be completely honest, Caesar Lands is better. Just going to quickly send my guy there. Gifts for the natives, thank you. And the Elysian homeland. Now that we have founded our new capital, it is time to expand our influence to the lands that surround it, as this would provide a buffer zone that any enemies must first pass through. We could also hope that one day to benefit from what become the cultural and economic center of our empire. And last but not least, the last event, Homeland settled. With the neighbouring province of Methane settled, it is time to encourage the settlers to move there. While this may weaken our capital for a short period of time, it will certainly help with the development of newly acquired provinces. Prepare the colonies. Yep, and we've now got Chesapeake under our control. We're actually... Oh yeah, we're going to get some little tech up as well. First, and we're going to deal with these guys. Deal accepted. The Poland have accepted their deal. And now equipped with crossbow and knight iron armor are packing up and marching south as we speak, while these settlers move to take their place. And we get bulldozing settlement for a while. And I'm actually not going to read it this time because it's essentially the same. The only difference is, well, there is no difference. I just got it quicker. And we've now mission fulfilled, the Elysian homeland. I don't need to read it because I read it out at the beginning. But we also finished Expand Our Lands. We now have 2 of the required things for a true nation. The last being the merchant class. The best way to do that is actually get a marketplace there. Because we can get a marketplace relatively soon. We now have the Bay of Alesia, which is currently called Chesapeake Bay. I do apologize for that's a spoiler for you guys, because it is good. But yeah, we've got the Dinotoy. And I think this is a great place to leave the end of part 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Remember to tell me anything you guys want in the description. Let me know what you guys are thinking, feeling, see how you guys want me to play it. I'm probably going to play it my normal way, quite militaristic, quite pro-Elysian. But if you guys have got good reasons why not to, let me know. And we'll see if we can find some little leeway. I'll see you guys in the next part, however. See you guys then.